Okay.
Good afternoon. We're going to resume our council meeting, and we are now at section 5.14, budget summary. The most entertaining and critical part of our discussions this afternoon. Anyway, I'll turn it over to Christine.
Okay. So the draft 2026 budget summary pulls in all of the expenditures from the previous departments and the various revenues to then arrive at the net amount which must be levied through taxation. Information on the township's allocation of the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund is attached, as well as a summary of the deferred revenue from 2025. Overall, the increase in expenditures is proposed at 9.51%. The projected operating revenues are 10.63% higher, and the deferred revenue from 2025 is 104.74% higher than the deferred revenue from the previous year. A specific note, the amount that's driving that forward is the crushing funds that we took from the budget 2025 budget, set that aside, like Brett mentioned during his budget. So that's the largest driver of that very large increase. So overall, in this first draft, the proposed net amount to levy after taking into consideration the proposed operating expenditures, estimated revenue prior to the levy, and the capital expenditures is $4,587,907. This is an increase of 7.81% over last year. The budget as presented would result in a 6.63% increase to the tax rate. The impact on every $100,000 in assessment would be $52.64 increase. The budget in this first draft reflects the funds necessary to maintain the current level of service, while also setting funds aside for future capital expenditures and infrastructure replacement. So the recommendation is to just receive this draft budget and provide direction to staff on a target amount to levy increase, which that your goal is, what you're looking for in terms of the percentage increase that is palpable to council.
Thank you, Christine. Yeah, so I guess we'll turn it over to council to see what your thoughts are. Trying to, no, do you want to deal with those first? We have some, actually, yeah.
So one thing that this draft summary page does not address is what council wants to do with the $5,000 request from the Flint and Rec Club that I think was proposed to be $2,000. The $2,000 donation to the food bank as well. So before we make any decisions on where we might be able to cut some things, we want to decide whether we want to include these things first. So I'll let you talk.
Yeah, we have a few items. So we'll deal with that one first, which is the just these. We take those one at a time, I assume. Then, yeah. So the first one would be the $5,000 request by the Flint and Recreation Committee for the event. And there was a suggestion to bring that down to 2,000 because they're getting another grant through another source as well. Just deal with that one. Okay, so do you want to make a motion? Motion. It's moved by Deputy Hook, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Any discussion around that one? Call the vote to Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
And Councillor Yench.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. Okay, this next item was the proposal I made to for a grant to the Land O'Lakes, for the Land O'Lakes Community Food Bank of $2,000. It would go towards utilities if they need it. They would utilize this only if they need it. So someone make that motion. Moved by Councillor Yench, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier
Yes.
and Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. The third item was a request for the $4,500 for the community garden, of which was a gazebo, I think, believe for 3,000, and the rest was to cover and providing an electrical supply to the garden shed that's out in the garden now. So what are your wishes? Councillor Yance?
I think that we should be paying, we could pay for the electrical portion of that, but that would be it. Just
Right.
for the electrical.
Are you making that motion?
I will.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the, I guess we would use $1,500, Christine. Yeah, $1,500 for the electrical supply in the community garden in Flinton. And we would just receive the request for the gazebo funding. Seconded by Councillor Thompson. Any comments on Deputy Reeve Hook?
There's been no other request from the community garden for the year. Has there?
Just the $3,000.
4,500 was it?
It was
3,000.
3,000 and then the 1,500 for the electrical
So
supply.
4,500 total.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was the total.
And we contributed last year's 3,000, was it?
Mhm.
Yeah, there was 3,000 in costs, which was a bit of an overrun there that we covered, as well as $16,000 towards the construction of the preparation of the site itself
Right.
that the roads department did for us.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Okay, the next item. We can do that now? Yes, okay. Okay. Got those taken care of. So we'll turn the discussion now to what's council's view on our levy? If we have a target they may have in mind. Turn that over to comments from members of council. Deputy Reeve Hook.
Can you share with us what the tax increase was last year?
So the increase in 2025 was 8.40%. And the year before that was 11.3.
I'm going to ask a question just in addition to that, Deputy Reeve Hook. Was the actual net last year increase when you factored in the county and the education? Do you know what that is? No, I can't remember.
So when you factored in, I hope this is right, 5.83% when you factored in the education rate and the county rate.
5.83?
Yep.
Okay. So we're at right now in this draft, we are at, where are we? 7.81, and when you factor the others into it, it's 6.63. Well, I think the education is flat this year. It's 0, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that correct? But the county is, I should have this number off the top of my head, it's around 4.6. And I think last year it was less than that.
I have this actually. 5.15% increase when you're taking into account education and the county.
$5.1 for this year? Councillor Hench?
So how would that reflect on, like per $100,000 assessment? So for every thousand,
Yeah, for every 100,000, it would
Yeah,
be
I'm sorry.
$78.29 increase
okay,
per 100,000.
per 100,000.
I know that doesn't reflect the actual average cost of assessment in Addington Highlands. However, for easy math, we use the 100,000.
Yeah, okay.
Turn that on. So that's what the property owner will see in their bill, would see in their bill, a 5.1% increase when they look at all the components to it. Okay. The education and then the LNA and Addington Highlands combined. So that's where we're at, 5.1%. What moderates it a little bit is obviously the education being at 0. So, yeah. Yes, go ahead, Brett.
Was that 5.1 or 5.15?
5.15.
Oh,
Sorry. Sorry, Tony.
That's all right.
Okay.
5.15. Thank you for the correction. Deputy Fook?
And just to reiterate, so last year it was 5.83. Unless Christine wants to check that. So I think that's a little surprising to some of us that it's actually lower increase than last year.
Let me double check my math.
We'll give it Christine a minute to double check her math. It's pretty important, so.
5.83. Is that what I said before? Nice. Yep, so that was right.
Okay, so any comments? Deputy Hook? Oh, we have 3 comments here. Go ahead,
I would-
Deputy Hook first.
I was just going to make a motion, but we're not ready for that.
Let's just see if we have any other comments first. Is that okay? Did you have a comment, Councillor Yance?
What would it take to get it down to like 4.75 or 4.89 or something? Just a question. I'm sorry, Chris, I don't mean to make you work all that.
If we could find 50,000 somewhere, it would bring you down to 5.34. No, 4.54. Oh my goodness, a little dyslexic. Wrong way.
Okay. Yeah. So I just want to ask Christine a question. Do we need to deal with that first before?
So I do have an idea.
Okay,
So
good.
before we adopt the
Yeah.
budget, if that's where you were leaning toward, um, I I acknowledge that there is concern with using reserves that have been technically earmarked for one facility in Ward 1. So in the operating budget for that facility, the Addington Highlands Community Center, in an effort to keep the budgets relatively flat from one year to the next, I did propose a $45,000 increase to the contributions to reserves for that facility. So my proposal, in order to avoid using the reserve that's been earmarked for the Addington Highlands Community Center, would be to reduce that contribution to reserve back to what it was in 2025 to 15,000, therefore gaining 45,000 to put towards the board repair. That would be a levied amount. And then taking the shortfall of 30,000 from the Shoreline Road Allowance Ward 2 funds to cover whatever the shortfall is, which in this case is 30,000, understanding of course that this is estimated costs. So that is an option, and that would, I think satisfy, some people's concerns about using the funds that were technically, despite the fact we are intending to pay these back, but if that would be more palpable, then that's an option.
Okay, do you want to make, someone want to make a motion?
I think that's a good idea. And like, I just, when we look at this budget, and we look at this number, it's a pretty good number when you consider like just policing costs alone, what it does to this budget. So it's not a lot more money going into the township for our operating expenses.
Okay, so you're making the motion that we do this, to reduce this? Moved by Councillor Thompson. I believe Councillor Yance was going to second it. Any questions or comments on it? No. Vote, Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yeah.
Councillor Yance, and that motion is carried. No. No. No.
Yeah. Sorry, that's usually my job, is to make sure that I'm busy.
Thank you to everyone for keeping me on track. We had a motion to approve the Ward 1 handy person. I forgot even who the mover was now. Councillor Yance, yes. And the seconder was Deputy Reeve Hook. Any questions, comments? No. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier?
Yes.
And Councillor Yance?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Sort of before we sort of make sort of our final choices, only comment, I definitely have a comment here. When you look around at all the other municipalities, some will be above, some will be below this rate. This rate is not out of line. It's not, it's running in the pack with many of them. Personally, I'm never supportive of, we have to look after all of our infrastructure, our roads, our bridges, our buildings, and also the other things we support in the community through grants and things like that. And we need to do our best to put money towards reserves that will help us stay in a sustainable operating position down the road. So comment, it'll be up to the rest of council to decide. I personally don't think this is out of line, the budget we have, this draft. And want to thank staff because they put a lot of hours into putting this together, and it makes our job, I won't say easier, but it makes it much easier to understand so we can make the decisions we want to. And they've been very good at answering all the questions that we've been asking this morning so we can understand the basis of all this information. So we'll turn it over to council. There's no motion yet, or anything else anyone wants to bring up for discussion prior to asking for someone to make a motion? I don't see Deputy Reeve Hook.
I propose that we adopt the budget as presented.
We have a mover. Yes, Christine.
With you want the increase
Technically, budget as amended,
amended?
yeah,
Yes, okay, with
because we did make some changes
okay,
to that. We added some grants and we readjusted some funding.
Right.
So as amended, is that okay?
that's fine.
Okay.
With a 5.15% as you calculated.
We have a mover, seconded by Councillor Levier. Any other questions? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier,
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Is there anything else that you want discussed today other than the rest of this on the order of business? No. Nothing else? Okay. No, okay, so we'll move on. Item 7 was matters for information. No, date of next budget meeting. I believe there will not be another budget meeting. Number 9 is confirming bylaw. Someone give that 3 readings. Councillor Yance, Councillor Thompson, call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. We have a motion to adjourn. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Yance. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. And thank you again for everyone, the staff putting this together and the councillors, I think, having a very healthy discussion around the draft budget that was proposed. Good afternoon, and this meeting is adjourned.